Okay, how to fit a snorkel. Today we are fitting this on a four-wheel drive PK Ranger, same as PJ Ranger. Your Couriers, your Mazda BT50s are going to be the same. Okay, so this is where it's going to fit with our airbox here. Okay, first thing we're going to do, they don't supply you with instructions of course, but we've got our snorkel and we've got a template. So the very first thing you want to do is make sure that your template matches up to your snorkel. Okay, so you want to go through and just make sure all your holes are in all the right places. Okay, gotta punch out those ones. Okay, so we're just going to make sure that all matches up before we do anything else. Next thing we want to do is make sure we've got a hole saw, the correct size for this. Some of the templates say on them what size you need, but otherwise you're going to have to measure it, and you want to go a little bit bigger. You want to make sure your hole's going to be covered by the snorkel itself, but you want to give yourself a little bit of room to work with, remembering that your silicone sleeve is going to have to go on there as well with a hose clamp. And then you want to have a rough mock-up. Okay, so we're just going to roughly hold it up. Just make sure we do have the right snorkel, that it's roughly going to follow the lines that we want. Okay, next job, I can see my air intake comes down into the side of here. I know that I'm going to have bolts and things to do up behind here, so the next thing I'm going to do is actually remove the inner guard. Okay, so while we're doing this on the PK Ranger today, it's going to be a similar process for anything you're fitting a snorkel to. If you basically follow the same steps, you will end up getting it done. But you see, we get these little clips like this. They have a screw fitting in the middle. They're just plastic, so we just undo the screw fitting. It'll come out a bit, then we can pull the clip out. If they don't come out like that, you'll have to get a small screwdriver in under the screw fitting, so the center piece has to come out first, and then the whole clip can come out. So just unscrew that and then give it a pull, and you should be able to pull that clip out. Okay, so we are just going to go around and undo all of these clips and any bolts holding this inner guard in, just so we can get it out of the way. Alright, when you put these back in, you can put it in and then you can actually just push that center piece back in, and you see how it spreads the back. Okay, so we've removed the wheel just to get it out of the way. We've pulled this inner guard back. It's mostly this end we want to get at. We now have our standard air intake here. Okay, so we're going to undo this and get that out of the way so we can see what we're working with, and then we will set up our template on the guard. Okay, so I've just roughly taped my template up here for the moment. So you get a curve here and a top edge here. So normally this template gives zero instructions whatsoever, but this, normally the top edge would line up with the top of your guard here, and the side edge would match the side of your guard there, and this curve would be irrelevant. So just to make sure, what I've done is I've just mocked up my snorkel and just held it up as it would be here, and then I've marked up here with tape as to where my top mount will end up, and I want to make sure that's going to be in the right spot. I'm just going to pull this seal back a bit here. sure that I might have to unscrew these and just pull this side trim off the windscreen. Just so I can see what's underneath, and then I might have to make a cutout for my mount. Okay, so what I've done now is I've just bolted my top bracket on there, and I'm just mocking up roughly again where this is going to go, and I just want to make sure that it's going to be on the right angle. So you want to open your door, make sure you're going to be clear of your door. And then I've taken this side trim off here. Oh, that's waspy. And I just want to check that that angle of that bracket's going to be about right. So it's a bit hard to see, but you just want to make sure that that bracket is going to be about the right angle. So this one doesn't have a specific place it needs to fit into up the side here. It's just it's the same angle right along, but that looks about right. Okay, so this is the side trim we removed just by removing the screws. All of these clips we will want to take out of here, so we'll grab some pliers, some long nose pliers, just to push in the backs of them, so that we can push those out. And then what we want to do is fit them back into the rubber seal. Which one is it? This one. So see, we've got the holes here, so we want to fit each one back into there, so then we can push them back into place when we're done. Okay, and when you're removing this original air intake, that's the nut we could see before. There's another one further up at the front. You can see I've got the indicator bulb pulled out here. But see, just above the hole where the indicator bulb went. I'm trying to hold everything at the same time. There's a mount just here to undo as well. Another 10mm nut. Okay, we'll just have a quick look here at how things are going to go together. So we've got this aluminium tube, we've got our rubber transition here, so this part is going to go onto the back of the snorkel. This then is going to go actually onto our airbox. So I've taken the airbox out, and you'll see this bit here, which originally has another piece in it. So we pull this piece out because we want this to all be watertight. So this aluminium piece, you'll see it's got a cutout here that's going to fit around the edge of the airbox. So we're going to put some silicone on here and press this on into place. But then we'll take this off. What I've also got under here is the rubber that was around this piece, just to pack it out. So yeah, I'm gonna pull this bit back off and then put this aluminium piece. Now I'm gonna put this aluminium piece onto here. Okay, so now with this piece on there, I'll still tidy the silicone up a bit more, but this is just a mock-up. I've just set the airbox back into place with that coming through the hole there, so we can see where it comes through to here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my other rubber transition. It's going to come up to where our other hole's going to be, and I'm just going to roughly make sure that my hole up here is going to be in the right place before I drill it. Okay, so feeling underneath where my transition is coming up to, I can feel it's lower than where my template is. Okay, so I've just mocked up the snorkel, I've put the mount back on the top, and so I've set that up in place, held the snorkel roughly in place, made sure the door opens, and just marked around where I think that should be, and now I'm just going to move my template to suit and retry it. If you have the right model for the template, then this will fit around your indicator, but that will be, I would say, for a PJ Ranger, whereas with the PK we've got a different indicator on there. So I'm just going to drop this template down and realign it all up. This is where you want to spend your time before you go drilling a big hole in the side of your vehicle. You want to make sure you're going to be in the right place. Alright, so this is the tricky bit. I've got my top mount on the snorkel so that can sit up in place. It's just bolted to the snorkel and sitting in place at the top. We haven't marked out where that's going to go yet. I have put my studs in the back of the snorkel here so I can roughly line those up with the holes in the template, even though they're not right against it. I'm holding it in place here, and I've put some masking tape across where our big hole is going to go and marked around where I want that. And that's based on lining the snorkel up with the template and also where that rubber transition in behind is coming to. Remembering I'm just going to get a little bit of rollover on this when it's fitted in properly. It's quite difficult because you can't obviously put the studs right against the template because this is holding it out until we get this big hole drilled. So with that drawn around there, I'm just going to check again so I can feel in behind with my hand where the other part of the rubber is. And so roughly this here is, we've got this line here where it sort of bends over, and it's kind of just below that curve is going to be our top edge. Okay, so now I just need to find the center of this hole. And we can start doing some drilling. Okay, so I can line up my hole saw here. I've got crossing holes here, so what I can do is mark out to the edge in line with that one, that one, that one, that one, and then I can use a ruler, cross those in the middle, and then I can look through my center hole and just make sure that's going to be in the center. Okay, so I can see in through here, I can see the cross where the center of the hole is going to be, with this lined up around here. Okay, so I've worked out with my cross, looking through the center of the thing with it all lined up, where I want my center to end up, and you'll see I've just made a little correction there. And then what I need is a center punch. Okay, we're just going to mark where that hole is going to be. Okay, can do it a few times. Automatic center punches like this are quite good for this sort of thing in panel steel, where you don't smashing it with a hammer. You got to make sure you don't hit it too hard. Okay, and what that does is it gives us a little notch where our drill is going to go. And that will stop the drill bit from wandering around because it'll be located by our center punch mark. Okay, and then I've just drilled a small hole in where our mark is. Alright, so that is going to again act to center our main drill and act as a pilot hole just to make it easier for it to go through. And I'll just make sure again that it's in the right place and I don't need to make any corrections. Looks good. So now we can fit up our pilot drill for the hole saw and do the bit that makes us all nervous, drilling a big hole in the side of our vehicle. Okay, just another note on the hole saw itself. Don't waste money on a cheap one. Don't go and get a cheap hole saw for this job. Go and spend some money, get yourself a decent one, because you don't want to have to chew this thing to pieces. And then just grab it by hand once it's all set up and just sit it in the hole and just give it a few turns just so it starts its taper. Just make sure that taper is going to be nice and centered, right? But yeah, definitely invest in getting a decent hole saw for this. Okay, so here's our hole cut out, and this is actually our rubber piece mocked up in behind, and that fits right to where that hole is. So we're definitely in the right spot there. And now what we'll do is we will mock up our snorkel again, and now because the hole's in place, we can get all these studs into the right spots and mark exactly where all of these holes are going to go. Okay, so what I've done now, I've put masking tape over all of the holes in the template, and I've just used some of the kids' chalk and chalked all of my studs. Okay, not all of them are going to contact this first time, but what we'll do is we'll mark where the first ones contact, and then we'll drill those, and then we can mark the others. So now I'm just going to put it up into place, and the chalk should come off onto my masking tape. Okay, so I can see here like this one isn't contacting, but we'll get that later. So I'm just going to push it in nice and firm. I've still got my top mount in there, so I know where that's going to sit. And then we'll pull it out and see what marks we've got. Okay, so you can see outline of a mark there, and there, and there. Little dot there, but I think we'll do these ones first. So basically we'll drill those out first, and then we can move on to these other ones as they contact there. So I can just mark these. With my vivid. Okay, so we'll just mark where the centre is going to be for each one. We'll drill them a bit bigger than they need to be anyway, so we've got a bit of movement. Okay, and same thing as before, we're going to centre punch them, pilot drill them, then drill them to size. Okay, so all our holes are drilled now, so I've drilled them to 8.5. So I started with a 3mm drill bit, then 5, then 6, and then 8.5, just to step them up as you go, make it nice and easy. So those are all drilled now. I can pull my template away now, and then I'm going to see how this all lines up. I've got a little scratch mark there, but we will give these a little tidy up, and then we're actually going to paint around them anyway. So what you can do is see a paint specialist and have a can of paint made up that's the exact colour of your vehicle. Somebody who does car paints can do that for you and put it in a spray can. This is plain white, and because it's going to be hidden behind the snorkel, I'm just going to use plain white paint just for my tidy ups. But yeah, now we can line it up. Okay, so let's say you get to this point and one of your holes is in the wrong place. Depending which one it is, you might be able to just remove the stud from the back of the snorkel for that hole, or you might need to drill the hole a little bit bigger, just so your studs will fit. Okay, so I've just got that roughly sitting in the holes. Needs to pull around a bit, pull these top ones in. But I've just got it roughly sitting there so I can mark the outside edge of what's going to be seen, just so I know that any painting I do is going to be within that. If you're using a proper made spray can with the exact right colour, you don't need to worry about this. Okay, so we've just very roughly painted around these holes. Obviously we don't want any rust happening as water comes down, but like I say, because it's covered, we haven't been flash about painting it. As you can see, with the proper paint, it'll come out much smoother if you're doing that. So airbox is back in, all bolted in place. I've put that transition in, so we've got that rubber grommet in between, hose clamp, every joint is going to be siliconed. I've got my hose clamp up waiting on my other end there. So you just want to make sure the hose clamps are going to be orientated in a place where you can get at them to do them up. And we'll put silicone around the snout of the snorkel as it goes in as well. If you were doing lots of river crossings, there is a drain down in here for the airbox, and it's got like this little rubber thing on the bottom. That might be something that you think about sealing up if you're doing a lot of river crossings. They're sort of designed not to allow a lot of air in, but to allow water out. So if a little bit of water does get into the airbox, it can drain out of there. So I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm more putting a snorkel on for flood waters on the road. Just we live rurally, and you can see it's raining right now, and you know, we're under another heavy rain warning, and our road floods. So this is just making sure that I can get through without having to worry about taking a gulp of water anywhere. Yeah, rather than doing like full-on river crossings all the time. Okay, so this is ready to go in now. We've got silicone around our snout. I put it on this side, so as it pushes in, it gets pushed back. On here, it doesn't get pushed into the air intake. Also, all of these studs I've put a bit of Loctite on just so that they can't rattle loose. And now we're ready to fit into place. Okay, so our nuts, we've got these big washers to go in behind, and then our nuts on. I've just sort of pushed it in as far as it comfortably goes, and then we're going to get these started, and we'll use these just to pull it in on the studs, and then some of the studs like this one that sit out a bit further, as we pull it in we can get the nuts onto those. Okay, so now the snorkel is sitting in place. We've started the nuts all on the back of it. What we want to do now is just work out where this top mount is going to go, because to drill our holes for our rivets, the snorkel is going to be in the way. So we're going to have to mark this out, mount this bracket, and then pull it off again to get it out of our way. So basically, start the nuts on there. You want to sort of centralise the bracket in the slotted holes, so that when you come to fit it all up, you've got the best margin of error as you can get. Okay, we just want to bring that across, and we're just going to grab something just to mark both edges of where the edge of this bracket is going to end up. Okay, so I've got my marks here where my bracket wants to be. I'm just going to sit this one right against, there's a little edge there, just to make sure it's parallel. And then I marked the centres of my holes. Two of them came out exactly in the centre where I want them. This one and this one. So I've now centre punched those two. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do those holes first. And then I'm going to mount this up, and I'll actually use this itself as a template once two of them are where I want them. Okay, so I've got those first two in place now. You can see how the ones I marked a bit off, but now I can use this as a template, and I'll punch those in the center and drill them. The screws I am putting, these are just short Tech screws, and I am putting silicone around them so we can't get any water leaking in through the holes into the pillar. You can also use rivets. I'm just using Tech screws because it's a bit more straightforward. Alright, so all four of those are done now, all siliconed. Just be mindful if you're doing this on something else that you want to check that you don't have a curtain airbag in here, that you might risk drilling into the back of when you're drilling through here. So just watch out for that. Just knowing some people will be doing this not on a Ranger and just getting an idea of how to do it. something to be wary of. Okay, so this is all bolted up. Our trim here, I've just cut out the piece where our bracket is and screwed that back on, and then our rubber piece here. Alright, then we just need to take our clips, and they are going to fit into the holes in our rubber. Just push one end in first and then the other, and then they can all clip back in there. Just do this before we pull our snorkel across and bolt onto here. So yeah, I mean, it would be easier actually to do this before you bolt the snorkel up, but hindsight and all. And then once we've done that, we're pretty much done. Just got to put all the inner guard and wheel back together, do up our hose clip around the snout there. Okay, now we are all bolted up at the top there. All our hose clips are done up. Don't forget to put your indicator bulb back in if you had to pull it out like my one. We're all siliconed, all tight hose clips up in here. Great. All that's left to do is put our inner guard back up and then put our wheel back on, and we are done. So if you need to fit a snorkel to a 4-wheel drive, or you know, to PK, PJ Ranger, Courier, same sort of setup, that is how you do it. So that is snorkel fitment or installation for a PK, PJ Ranger. Okay, I hope that has helped you out today. Don't forget to click the like button and also click the subscribe while you're there. We've got a bunch of diagnostic solutions and tips and tricks for professional mechanics like ourselves, and also for the serious DIYers at home. So click that subscribe and the bell so you get notified, and we will see you in the next video.